Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Crazy Little Thing Called Thought. My name is Luke Richardson and this is, as I say, episode 8, Depression Doesn't Define You. Now, depression is obviously an emotion that kind of gets hold of people by the neck. It is something that's really seductive to people, something that people experience, get to know really well and identify themselves with. Now, depression can cause people to get quite self-conscious, get very reserved, very quiet. It can make people get quite angry and then go into that reserved state. And it can often result in people showing physical signs of depression, like staying in bed all day or, resorting to drugs and alcohol to basically, find a solution to the depression. And basically all this boils down to is a huge misunderstanding about where depression comes from. If you go to somebody and say to them, "Why are you depressed?" they would say, "Oh, I'm depressed because of this, and so I'm depressed because of this person or that person, or I'm depressed because of my job, and to combat all this I need to drink and do drugs and do other things." And the misunderstanding, well, the lack of understanding is about depression is huge, because we live in a world of internal creation. We are creative beings. Humans are all the same. We all have the same birth start, and we all, no matter what our circumstances are, create the power of experience, of thought, no matter what our specific circumstances are, no matter how much money we've got, no matter what family we have, no matter what our job is. No matter where we live, we create experience through us. Experience doesn't come to us. Now, you might be wondering, well, if that's true, how does that help with depression? Well, it gives you hope, because creation is something that's fluid. It's changing all the time. It's not fixed. You find a depressed person in a depressed state of mind, and you follow them around all day, you would find that they have moments of presence, moments of clarity, moments of perspective. Despite labelling them as a depressed person, they show signs of their mental health. It might be that a depressed person manages to force himself to a family gathering, and they are the real them. They interact with people. They're the life and soul of the party. They, show little signs of depression at all, because they are fully immersed in life. They are in the moment. They are taking it in their stride, and then the party ends and they go home, and the thoughts that they create, the thoughts that they articulate, because they are creative beings, remember, come back. So they were creating very positive thoughts at the party, and now they're back at home, the party's over, they're creating depressive thoughts, and they get depressed again and get back into bed, and they go, "Oh, that's normal because that's who I am." Well, if that's who you are, why were you not depressed at the gathering? See? The key here is thinking, is thoughts. We are me, you, brother, your sister, your dad, your mum, your kids, your teacher, your work colleagues, you're all thinking creatures. Now, if we are thinking creatures, we can have any thought at any particular moment. Good or bad thoughts. That's all they are, thoughts. They don't have to be taken seriously. Now, all a depressed person is someone who's having a very negative thinking experience, grabbing hold of it, locking it away and saying, that's me. And that brings me right on to back to the title of this audio recording. That depression you have got hold of, that you've put into a bowl, moulded up, baked a cake out of, and took out the oven, that depression doesn't define you. It's because it's not you. It's not the real you. And that's a wonderful thing to realise, but a lot of depressed people out there don't know that. And that's why I'm trying to create these audio recordings about depression, stress, anxiety, because, as I say, we are thinking creatures. The thinking that type of thinking we bring, depressive, stress and anxious thinking, is not us. It's not the real us. We are much more, and that's the human potential. Someone who's depressed, it doesn't define them, and they have the bags of potential like any human being to be who they want to be. They just don't realise it because they are so tied up in the spider's web of negative, depressed states of thought. And it really is that simple. But because it is that simple, people don't see it because we are brought up to intellectualise, to make things complicated. When really, if one can just realise that their thinking is not doing them any favours, and realise it's going to change and hopefully change for the better, eventually. Might not be in 5 minutes, might not be in 5 hours, but eventually you'll get that lucid moment. It will change because that's what the system is designed to do. It will change for the better, and you can go on to be the creative person you are to your own benefit. Human beings are incredible, absolutely incredible. As I say, we all have the same birth start. When we come out of the womb and come into the world, we don't have £1 million to get settled on our way. We don't have £1 to settle on our way. Because we don't need it, because when we're born, the inner space, the real us, when that's born, it's all we need. And we've always got that to tap back into in life. If we're depressed, we need to just look, it doesn't define us, and we need to look beyond the depression, beyond the depressive thinking, to tap into the spiritual us that will answer all, that'll be the answer to all of our issues and problems, no matter what the problem is. Could be looking for another job. Like, you could be depressed about looking for another job because you're unemployed. You could be depressed because your marriage isn't working out. You could be depressed because you're addicted to drink and drugs. And the irony is, it's not those outside issues that are creating our inexperience, because if it was, it would be the same for everybody. I was unemployed last year for about a month or two. I quit my job and I managed to get another one 2 months later. In that 2-month period, I would say I was the least depressed I'd been for a long time, because one, I developed this understanding for me and knew that if I did get depressed about being unemployed, that it didn't define me. I don't think I got depressed barely at all about the situation, because I knew deep down that depression didn't define me, so it didn't make sense to get into a depressed state. And the irony being, I was in such a relaxed state of my psychology because I knew it would get, I knew this understanding a little bit, enough to kind of get me through to get another job. And these just things just have a habit of working out for people. And I had that trust in myself that it would do, the universe would come through. Now, let's say I quit my job and I didn't have an income for a little bit, thankfully not too long, but a little bit, enough to kind of make it a little bit scary because of having to pay bills, having to pay the mortgage, 2 children, blah, 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 blah. I was really relaxed about the situation. My family, on the other hand, who were really concerned about me, which is why I quit, were the total opposite of being relaxed. They were kind of scared for the situation. How are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to do this? Oh, what we're going to do as a whole family about this. They were, understandably, of course, really preoccupied about it. And, as I say, I got a new job. Long story short, they relaxed about it, and I've been in that job for over a year now, so all good. But it just shows the power of what I'm trying to demonstrate with that. It just shows the power of thinking. I was the one who was unemployed. Yeah, I was the one who was relaxed, chilled, didn't really bother me too much, happy for the break. I just knew I'd find another job, and I did, and it all worked out. So to get depressed and anxious and stressed about it all just didn't make much sense to me, personally. Yet my family, who were unemployed, who were my wife, in-laws, my mum and dad, they were all really concerned about the situation. Same situation, but different thinking experiences from people about the same situation. So thinking, again, is that key to all of this. Now, someone else in my situation who was unemployed for 2 months or so would probably be more depressed and anxious about that situation, or they would be even more chill than I was, which shows the infinite possibility that we have within ourselves to create experience. And as I say, the chilled vibe I was giving out, even though it was a more positive experience than depression, still did not define me, because that chilled experience wasn't me. I am much more peaceful than that inside, like as we all are, spiritually. So I just hope this audio recording helps you guys a lot to realise that if you are someone who is depressed and down in the dumps and think life is shit and whatnot, I really hope this video gives you a lot of hope, because it doesn't define you. Believe me, I've been there. I've been depressed in the past. I wouldn't say I'm depressed anymore now. I understand what I'm trying to teach you, what I'm trying to give to you. But believe me, when I've lacked understanding about it, and sometimes I do now and again, I've been there. I've been in bed. I've been thinking life's hopeless. I've been thinking that life sucks, but there's no way out of this horrible thinking. I've been there, and it's horrible. But here I am, as you are, listening to this video to tell the time for you to watch this, and you can understand or listen to this, and once you really understand and get a deeper knowing that who you really are and what you experience moment to moment is not fixed, is not particularly real. It's just a temporary illusion that we create, good and bad ones, of course. That the real us is something nice, something pure. Then I'm not saying depression goes forever, but it certainly goes from a full glass of depression to maybe that much of a glass, which is huge. Which is a massive improvement to people. And that can happen with people not particularly changing much circumstances at all. People can change from that full glass of water to that small glass of water of depression with the same marriage, with the same home setup, with the same money, with the same job. And that's powerful because, it's not easy to change the outside world to... It's not easy to change the outside world to... How am I supposed to say this? It's not easy to change the outside world in order to make us think that's going to help us. I hope that makes sense. So it's much more simpler to understand where experience comes from, because you can't easily get another job to ease your depression. You can't easily move house to ease your depression. You can't easily get off drinking to ease depression if you lack understanding. But if you understand the real vastness of life, the true life inside of us, that we can tap into at any time, then it's not always easy to get there either if your thinking is so noisy in your mind. But if you can let it drop and get there, then that makes life easier out there. Now, I'm not saying that if you've got a small poxy apartment that it doesn't make sense to get a bigger one if you have a chance to. But when you realise that the poxy apartment isn't affecting your depression, then it gets much easier to live there in that poxy apartment. Now, this is when people go to the outside world to fix depression, and that's like living in a home where your boiler's broken and getting an engineer out to fix your fridge or your roof. It's not going to help it. Does that make sense? Metaphorically, if you're getting an engineer to your home to fix your boiler, but they're fixing the fridge and fixing the roof and tidying up the garden, that's not going to fix the boiler, which is your thinking, your new reality of thinking, your change of thinking will fix your boiler, your thought storm, your thinking depression, your thinking of depression. So I'm going to end it there. Let me know what you think in the comments. I hope you enjoyed it, and a lot more content to come. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate you listening. Take care. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Remember, depression doesn't define you.